Welcome back. This is the United States of Anxiety. I'm Kai Wright. This week, we're reflecting on the past year. As I said earlier, we focus a lot in this show on the collective choices we face as a society. But we also try to keep in mind that we're all individual human beings trying really, really hard to live together. And this year, the social connections that help us hold together, they've obviously been hard to maintain. For some, it has been a profoundly lonely time. For some, it has also been transformational and has pushed us to get creative about finding connection. Our next reflection comes from reporter Ginny Casas, who was out walking in Chicago this fall when she came across a flyer, an advertisement, looking for friends. It was posted by Niky Crawford, who suddenly had a lot of free time this year.
My day job was a standardized patient. Do you know what that is?
No.
That is basically a fake sick person for medical students.
Back in March, when the first COVID-19 cases came to Chicago, Niky Crawford was working this acting job.
But that's a job that requires, a lot of people to fly in daily to touch my bare face. And so when, little old pandemic came, we were like, better put a hold on that for a little bit.
March turned to April, to May, to June, and Niky was furloughed twice. So with all that new spare time, Niky picked up some freelancing gigs and got into some new creative projects.
And I started making rugs as a little hobby. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what I've been doing since July. A little bit of job hunting, making money, a little bit of making rugs, and then, of course, having conversations with strangers.
The pandemic stripped something essential from Niky's life. I think a lot of us can relate. And when I first saw the flyer, I thought it was a call for companionship. Can you just describe the ad for me?
Sure. An audio tour of this visual flyer. So
it's a standard piece of printer paper, black and white,
with a little doodle person on there, one circular body with stick limbs and a little crown.
There's a speech bubble that says, "Hello!" exclamation point.
And a lot of other old school emoticons, like fingers pointing at it and flowers and stuff like that.
And below that, it says, "I'm the friend you would have made if not for COVID."
We met at that event that was supposed to happen but got canceled. Remind me what that was? Also, what was that album you wanted me to check out?
At the bottom, there's tabs cut into the page with a phone number, like any other flyer advertising a room for rent or a car for sale. And each one says, "How are you? ? Text me back."
I'm using this simulation because I'm better at simulations than I am at making friends.
Niky hung dozens of these flyers across a few neighborhoods. The one that I saw was taped under the mouth of a blue USPS mailbox. And it just struck me as so earnest. At a time when things are feeling so bleak, here was someone finding a creative way to connect. So I texted, and I asked Niky to let me follow along.
Hi, Jenny. These are little notes that I've recorded either while I was walking and hanging up flyers. One thing I have gotten pretty good at is taping flyers to telephone poles all by myself. It's really easy to look like an idiot out there. Just walked by a flyer that I already put up, and I saw an older gentleman carrying groceries on his way home, I guess, and put them down to stop and read the flyer. He didn't take a tab with the number on it, but, in a perfect world, maybe he has a really good memory, and I will get the best message that I'll ever receive tonight.
Hi, we got your number from the park.
I got a voicemail. And what a voicemail. I think it's just a bunch of teens who found it.
Yeah, we found it. And we'd like to say hi.
One of them that's like trying to call and like maybe is a bit nervous to do it, and they have another who's just making jokes and yelling in the background.
I think you're sorry about that. Have big mommy milkers.
And the other teen was like,
Sorry about that. But you're probably a really cool person, and we'd like to get to know you. Yeah, your poster's very cute. Very adorable. Thank you. Bye bye. Love you. Bye bye.
That was the only voicemail that Niky got. The rest are all text messages. The conversations usually fall into one of two camps. Most people respond really genuinely. They give their real names, they tell Niky about real things going on, and they ask normal niceties. How's your week? How have you been?
and then like the other 30% are like, we met under the ocean in Costa Rica. And I'm like, cool, yeah, loved the sharks, you know? And I'll meet them there, and that's fun.
And that meeting them there, that sort of theater of humanity, that, more than anything else, turns out to be the thing that Niky was missing.
So the first message I got within an hour of hanging these flyers up. And it's definitely one of the most powerful I've gotten. This is it. Dear friend, thank you for texting me. I wasn't sure if we'd manage to get in contact again. It feels like forever since we met at that crawfish eating contest, even though it was this morning. Do you remember? You ate 130 crawfish, which experts said was medically impossible. I ate 0 because I don't like shellfish. I knew we would be fast acquaintances. I apologize for not using your name. As you recall, we exchanged only code names. Me, Steve. You, Big Steve. Regardless, I hope this finds you well. Please listen to Paul Simon's Gracelands. Warm regards, quote, Steve, end quote. And I was like, oh my God, what a powerful message, like an hour into this thing.
What Niky likes so much about Steve is that they're taking the call from the flyer and just running with it, improvising fantasy scenarios that match Niky's energy. And they go back and forth as these characters for weeks.
Dearest, biggest Steve, they write to me.
Together, they build a fake history, teeing each other up for the next imaginary thing.
To answer your question, yes. I've made many friends from events that were canceled because of COVID. A little over 20 so far.
But braided in there are real questions you would ask your friends. How's your sleep been? How's that project you were telling me about?
I'm happy to hear that you've made the acquaintance of so many people in these difficult times. If you're referring to the work project I'm always complaining about, sorry. Progress is tentatively steady. Honestly, creative energies have been in flux this year. I feel pretty optimistic about the new idea for a manuscript. Are you still planning that trip when things calm down?
Steve!
So lovely. So lovely, Steve. Thank you.
I'm like, genuine interaction always wins out. Always.
Sure, if you want to call this genuine interaction.
Niky and Steve's ability to blend the make-believe and the real, it just throws me off. Maybe because I myself am always a little too earnest. I'm a bad liar, and that makes me a bad actor. And keeping up this fake reality with Steve or anyone else, it just seems taxing.
Like if I was doing this, like I would be like, serious inquiries only. You know, like.
You would send your friendship contract to them after a couple weeks, ask for a couple references for past friendships.
Yeah. It's almost as if you are like telling someone you have a crush on them, but always reserving the ability to be like, just kidding. Like that's hearing you describe it, I'm like, you're always ready to be like, oh, we're just playing, or like, oh, you're really here for this. Like, I will show up with you.
God, and what's funny is if I ever was confessing a crush on someone, I would definitely like always have it in my back pocket, be like, I got you. You know, like, bro, haha, what if, right? You know? I do kind of hope, though, if I ever meet Steve and they see that I'm actually just some freaking bouncy kid loves to just send smiley faces and goof with people. What if they're like 50 and they're like, who the is this? Like, I don't know. And that's to say, Jenny, 50-year-olds hate me historically. Hello, test.
I don't know if you're doing testing. Okay.
Hello, test.
Hi.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep, that worked.
Okay, great.
3 weeks after that first message from Steve, Niky's inbox was swamped with messages from new people.
60, 61, 62, 63, 64. 64. Oh my God.
Niky sets aside an hour-ish every day to respond to this growing cast of characters. One person imagines that the two of them met at a strip club. Another person only texts in cat photos. And another person...
Their first messages were like, how have you been? I miss your hair. Touching it. You can't touch things now. Wow. Out the bat, talking about touching my hair. Love it when people touch my hair.
Okay, Dina, do you want to give me a little intro?
Yeah, my name is Dina.
Dina was the one sending those flirtatious texts.
I realize we're very similar in the way we interact with people. We love attention. We love being flirty.
When it's not the pandemic, Dina is usually a server. And just like Niky, she has a job that's been on hold and can't be done from home. She answered the flyer because she could already imagine the person on the other end being her friend.
And also there was like no risk either, you know, because if I had met someone from real life, anytime I meet someone new in real life right now, it just feels like a risk. And I just constantly think about it. So, yeah, it just felt very natural. It was like these little moments when we would be texting where I felt like we're not stuck in the middle of this terrible, terrible thing that's happening to all of us.
Nothing is forever. Steve, the one who met Niky at the crawfish eating contest, stopped texting after about 5 weeks. And Niky, after connecting with almost 100 people, is ready for something else.
I didn't hang up new flyers this weekend. I'd say 50% on purpose. 1, I was lazy, but 2, I have like 80 conversations going right now. I can't, again, not like actively going, but like I can't keep on doing this forever.
There's no contract for these friendships. That's never what it was about for Niky. It was about mimicking those little things, the kind of play with strangers that can make your day, a flirtation at the coffee shop, or a joke exchanged in an elevator. The problem right now is that we're living in a world where laughing out loud can actively spread the virus. And Niky was able to find a way to do it safely.
I will say that yes, there are people that I have felt like the energy is really good, you know? As the kids say, we're vibing. I'm definitely vibing with certain people better than others. But what I think is appropriate to say is that if you're listening and we talked, you were the person that I vibed the best with. It's you. I can't wait to continue talking to you.
That was Niky Crawford in Chicago, brought to us by our reporter, Ginny Casas.